Hey everyone, I hope you are having a wonderful day so far. I am just dropping this special little clip into all the episodes. So, no matter what episode you're listening to, this is actually pretty current as of July 2024. I wanted to come on here and just say a big thank you to Earworthy because the Life Shift podcast was just named the best overall podcast of the year in the first Earworthy Independent Podcast Awards. And you've probably seen some articles written about the Life Shift podcast before, written by Earworthy. And now he is launching from his online publication, he is launching these yearly winners of independent podcast awards. And these are specifically for indie podcasters. We are those that wear all the hats. We create the show. Some people write the show. We're producers, sound engineers. We troubleshoot all the tech. We do any kind of research if we need to. We host the shows. We distribute the shows. We do all the things that relate to our shows because we love it. And it's so nice to see my name in a list with some other amazing podcasts like Multispective, which won Best Life Lessons Podcast. Salad with a Side of Fries won Best Health Podcast. Bippity Boppity Business won Best Business Advice Podcast. And there are so many more. And so I just want to come on here and say thank you to Earworthy for not only doing these awards every year and just honoring some of us indie podcasters that sometimes feel like we're just shouting into the void, but we're not. We're just doing what brings us joy, and hopefully through that work it brings other people joy. In my case, for the Life Shift, I hope that each episode finds the ears that needed to hear it the most so that they feel a little less alone in their circumstance. But also, Earworthy writes all these amazing publications pretty much weekly, every week, every weekday, I should say, where he writes on Blogger, Medium, Substack, Tumblr, Vocal, Many Stories, and for other places. And he really just highlights the independent podcasters. So thank you, Frank, for everything you do with Earworthy and for recognizing all of us in the first Earworthy Independent Podcast Awards. If you'd like to read more, please head to medium.com/EAR hyphen WORTHY. Thanks again and enjoy this episode. Hello, my friends. This is another preview to a bonus episode that we do over on the Patreon feed. And so, with these bonus episodes, I like to go back to former guests and just catch up with them based on what we talked about on their show and see if things have changed a little bit. Maybe they had some feedback from people that they didn't expect, or maybe they just learned something new about themselves by sharing the story. And so, in this clip, I wanted to share just a little piece of the latest conversation that I had. If you're interested in checking out the full bonus episodes, you can head over to the Patreon page, which is www.thelifeshiftpodcast.com/join. And there is a special tier that gets you ad-free episodes, early release episodes, and the bonus episodes. Come on over, check out the Patreon community, and see how you can support the show if you're interested. But without further ado, here's a preview of the latest bonus episode. I'm wondering if anything particular about your story after saying it stuck out with you, like, oh, wow, I didn't really put those pieces together.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. I tend to be a fairly self-reflective person. I like to journal. I like to reflect. I like to, try to make meaning of things. I think that anytime you have the gift of having someone reflect back to you what you're working through, or even the ways that you're working through it, or what they're hearing. I mean, I think that for me, just using that moment as an example, clearly it was profound because I remember it all these years later. But I think I always just thought of it as that was the first time I realized I'm poor and maybe that's not awesome. Right. I just and so I think I always kind of thought of it in that way. And our conversation that day was oh, but like, how do I do that to other people as an educator? Do I do that, like all the sorts of ways. I mean, I think even in that moment when I was externally processing, just like being so mindful about the ways that you can like be. And I say it all the time with teams that I manage or that I'm facilitating or even classes or whatever, this notion of like, assume best intentions, but also attend to impact. Like, yes, things are going to go better if you can like hear what someone says, maybe not love it, but like be like, but I know you and I love you and I trust you. So like I want to assume that you have good intentions, but also I need to name the impact that had and like we need to address that, right? And so I think that it was like a moment where I was like, oh, these things are converging, like something I espouse philosophically in practice. That was a moment that probably shaped feeling pretty strongly about that, because I feel like if people just stop with assume good intentions, it's like it doesn't take us quite far enough, because like even if people have good intentions, right, like they can have that impact. And so I think it's just like a reminder of so many of the things that we carry with us are seeded so early on, which isn't terrifying at all when you have like an almost 4-year old and you're like, oh God,
What am I doing?
everything I say could be planting some sort of seed.